Atlas in the
Yes.
hot seat tonight.
And Atlas.
Goes by the name of Atlas the Bookkeeper. How you feeling, my friend?
From Alex from Phoenix. I remember the day when you got swatted. I decided to live stream you for the first time in a while, and it was so bizarre. I never thought I'd see someone get swatted live, and I disagree with June about blaming the detractors for the swatting. If their collective effort made one nut job commit the crime. The problem is, and I said this last night in my live react, okay? Do you really think that people who made This Is How You Don't Play intended that I was eventually going to get swatted? No. That was never the intention, right? Like, never. Not at all. That wasn't what they were looking for or anything. Not at all. Not in any way, shape, or form. They were just looking to make fun of me and my gameplay, right? But what happens is you get different levels of escalation as people dip their toes into the water to see how it feels and see how far they can get. It's called pushing the boundaries, correct? So as people over the years continuously made more and more negative content about me, first it started off as, well, oops. Anyway, all right. So what I was saying was, there's people who just go to more and more levels of escalation to see how far they can get and get what they can get away with, right? For example, let's say there's someone, they go to the grocery store and they say, you know, I'm just going to see if I can take this candy bar. They grab the candy bar and they run out the door. No one pays any attention to them. No one even noticed. They got away with it. So the next time they go to the grocery store, they say, oh, I'm going to try to steal 2 candy bars. And then the next time, I'm just going to steal the whole box of candy bars. And the next time, you know what? I'm going to start stealing steaks. And the next time, you know, I'm going to start stealing liquor. And the next, you see what I mean? It's levels of escalation to see out what you can get away with until you get into trouble or something happens, correct? In the case of these people on the internet, I think what people saw was that essentially you could make it This Is How You Don't Play. People would definitely get attention and views and clicks on it, but eventually get stale, right? So now you got it. What's the next level of escalation that we can get attention for and get away with? Well, let's actually now, instead of just talking about his gameplay, let's start talking about how he behaves. Let's start talking about his significant other and his family members. Let's start talking about his finances. Let's start talking about this and that. And it just keeps escalating over and over. And when you go from the realm of the public content of gaming to the personal, now what happens is people start to obsess and think about things on a personal level instead of, oh, he's just a creator who makes gameplay. They're thinking, oh, this is a guy who has all these flaws and now we really dislike him. And sadly, there's people on the internet. Oh, am I not seeing super chats? I got 2 so far. Oh my God, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Thank you for telling me. I'm looking at the wrong window. I didn't see the super chats at all. You're absolutely right. It looks like I did get a couple. I will shout those out in a second. My apologies. I had the wrong window open. I didn't see any super chats. That's on me. Okay. So what was I saying? Oh, so basically, you always have people who sadly, they go too far. They see the world as black and white, good and evil, heroes and villains, right and wrong. They don't understand that humans are flawed individuals who make mistakes. That sometimes when you're criticizing someone, you're just laughing at them to make fun of them and have a joke. You're not actually saying they're the worst thing on the planet. There are some people who aren't, sadly, mentally equipped to understand that, okay? And so what happens is they watch people doing, This Is How You Don't Play about me. They watch people detracting me and saying, this is fucked up about Phil and what he did in his life, and look what he does here and said here. And they believe literally that I'm like an evil villain person who should be like murdered. So they swap me, right? Now, that's not in line with 99% of the people who don't like me, but all it takes is the one. And that's the problem is, I hate to say it, people online sadly do not take responsibility for their actions enough. There's too many people out there who just sit there saying negative stuff all day, and they never think about how that can translate into harm against others. You know what I'm saying? I even said, listen, I said it publicly with the Kino Casino guys, right? I said, listen, we're going to do a live react to the Review Tech documentary, but we have to preface it saying we don't wish harm against Rich, and we don't want anyone to go out there and do harmful things to Rich. We want, Rich is already falling apart of his own actions. No one needs to go out there and attack this man and ruin his life, right? And I feel like when I do reacts and things like that, I need to preface it with that. Because if I don't, there may be some lunatic who sees me making fun of someone and thinking, oh, well, that guy's the devil. Let's go murder him now. No, no one's saying that. But people are nuts and will think that if you don't outright fucking state it, or at the very least, you protect your own butt from any kind of problems if you say that up front, which is exactly what everyone should be doing, in my opinion. So, yeah, it's messed up. Like, June is not going to say, oh, it's the detractor's fault that Phil got swatted. Because it's not the detractor's fault that I got swatted, okay? It's the actions of a loony individual. But it is the fault of the people who made This Is How You Don't Play and my detractors that they never went out there and said, hey, don't be crazy. Don't fucking go nuts on this. It's all jokes. They didn't say that. So because you're not saying that, dumb people will take it as fact or a call to action when that's not what any of it was ever meant to be. Do you understand? None of this is ever a call to action. I literally said yesterday on this podcast, even though I'm calling out Duty for his incredible hypocrisy and problems that he's causing me, breaking YouTube terms of service constantly, that I don't wish anyone take any action against him. Let him implode on his own, because he will. There's no reason for us to do anything. He's just going to burn his own house down, essentially, with the way he's acting. Okay? So there you go. But they never said that. I'm just going to ban Rocklow now because he literally said in the chat, it's your fault for giving out my address. I never gave out my address. I was doxxed the first week that I lived here. I never handed out my address. That is a detractor lie that was never, ever corroborated whatsoever. It's false. It's Photoshop bullshit, and you're a sucker for believing it. And the fact that you said it in my chat, you're gone and you're not coming back. Seriously, I've had enough.